stronghold for more than 20 years. Brian Massey is the incumbent here, but Richard Pollock for the Liberals is looking to take that seat. So both parties have been fighting to secure this region. Over the weekend, we saw the NDP leader and Liberal leader both coming to Windsor, making that final pitch as to why their parties are best positioned to represent this area. Now, switching to Windsor to come see Lakeshore, that's a riding whose boundary has actually changed to include Lakeshore. What we know about this one is that Liberal incumbent and candidate Ira Kuzmarchuk has been in that seat since 2019. Will that boundary change impact the income? We're gonna have to wait to see what happens. But for some voters in this riding, they had a bit of a rocky start this morning. So what you're gonna be seeing there is a fire on the roof of the WFCU Center that broke out a little bit earlier. It was a voting station, but it did have to move because of the fire to St. Joseph's High School. Now, we spoke with a couple who had to switch locations because of this.
But the excitement is just to vote today.
Yeah.
That's our right to, to be, we want a better government and all those things. But it is like kind of natural casualty. I don't know what was the cause of that, the fire. But relocation is very close to our house, so we are fine with that. Right. No complaint.
Now, it's unclear what started that fire, but no injuries were reported, although $1 million worth of damage to the WFCU Center. Now, switching back to the ridings, we're looking at Essex finally. It's been largely conservative for 20 years. Chris Lewis is the incumbent there. Advanced voting shows us that more than 34,000 people came out to that region, which means it logged the third highest number of advanced votes in Canada. So, Kat, what we've been seeing, throughout this campaign is that this is a consequential election, which could mean real change for Canadians. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens.
We know that you'll be tracking that into the evening, Jen. That's CBC's Jennifer Lagrassa live for us tonight. We turn now to a difficult story. The election is taking place as people also grieve a terrible tragedy in Vancouver. And just a warning that some of the images you're about to see are hard to watch. Outside Windsor's Filipino Community Center, the flags fly at half-mast, a somber acknowledgement of a horrible tragedy that unfolded in Vancouver on Saturday. A Vancouver man has been charged with multiple counts of murder after driving an SUV into a crowd at the Lapu-Lapu Day Filipino Festival. 11 people have died. The youngest was 5 years old. Others are in hospital.
It's so sad to hear things that, so many people being killed and a lot of wounded, and hope that we can help in a way, praying for the victims.
The community is now in mourning, trying to make sense of the senseless, a horrific situation that is felt across the country in communities like Windsor.
It shocked me to the core, and there's a sense of fear that, oh my, what's going on with this world now, Like it's supposed to be just a happy, peaceful gathering, celebration, and now we ended up in a tragedy.
Police are not investigating it as an act of terrorism, saying they do not believe there was religious or political ideology behind it.
We're really shocked about these tragic events. It's really unheard of, but we are resilient people. We know we will overcome. We hope everybody do understand that this is a sad and horrific moment, and we need some consolation for all these things that are happening.
In a moment like this, many turn to their faith.
It's by prayer, and then if we have a contact with the group there, and ask them what they need, and then we can help.
The group plans on organizing an event soon to honor the lives lost and connect with community groups in BC to find out how they can support them from afar. Shifting gears now as we bring in Colette Kennedy with our first look at weather. And Colette, truly another beautiful day. The sun is shining that voters get to enjoy as they head to the polls.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think anyone necessarily looks for an excuse, but if you did, the weather could not be it for getting out to vote. Just some beautiful conditions, and the sun doesn't set till almost 8:30, 8:28, so plenty of time to still enjoy that. 22 degrees right now, but I'm showing you this perspective because you go from those low 20s all the way way to Minneapolis, and then look at Fargo, 4 degrees, 6 degrees in Winnipeg. So where we have that cold air meeting that warmer air mass, that's where some active weather, and possibly severe, has been bubbling up. And we have that potential tomorrow. So I'm going to break that down in detail when I come back. Overnight tonight, very mild. Tomorrow, hot and humid, and that is the setup.
All right. Thank you, Colette.
You're welcome.
To City Council now, where a debate around a controversial housing proposal finally has a conclusion. CBC's Dawson Chen reports.
After a 2-year battle at the municipal level, a proposed and contentious townhouse development in South Windsor has been denied by City Council. The development would have put 5 townhomes in the 4,000 block of 6th Concession Road, creating 27 new units. But area residents have strenuously objected against the development, arguing that its footprint and design would create dangerous traffic issues. It came down to a council vote on April 28th. Council was evenly split on the issue until Mayor Drew Dilkins cast the deciding vote. He supported a motion put forward by Councillor Kieran McKenzie to deny the development.
I won't be supporting intensification projects along the 6th concession corridor because I don't think we're ready for those developments to proceed from a public safety standpoint.
Residents were surprised by council's vote, but gratified that their voices were heard.
I am surprised. I am surprised. Setting this precedence right now is a win for anyone that's facing developments in their neighborhood.
David French of Story Samways Planning, who have been retained by the developer, says he expects his client will appeal the decision via Ontario Land Tribunal.
Yeah, that's definitely on the table. This, in my opinion, ticked all the boxes. We have an official plan which permits townhouses in this location.
But Daniela Fraley, who lives only 6 doors away from the proposed development, says residents will be ready to help council defend their decision.
I think it was the right decision. I think the mayor got it right, and I think the city council got it right. There were safety issues involved, and that we had to do it for the neighborhood and for all the children and everybody that needed to have a safe place to live.
The 27-unit townhome proposal had already been scaled back. The developer originally wanted to put 73 new units on the land. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Back to election coverage now. Voters in Canada usually have to be the age of majority, 18 years old. But when an election comes around, an organization called Civics Student Vote runs a special ballot just for kids. And it looks and it feels like the real thing, with the goal of getting kids comfortable and engaged with politics. CBC's Katie Fraser stopped by Vincent Massey Secondary School last week as grade 10 civics students took part.
We're in civics class right now, and our teacher taught us about the different voting stations and how the voting process works. It just felt like we're responsible for, you know what I mean? Because, you do this when you're 18, that's what we were taught when we were younger, and we just felt like we're responsible for something, something big.
It took us 2 days to look at the candidates, and we also had to vote too, so we had to watch all the candidates talk and try to convince us on who we should vote for. I'm really happy I got to learn this experience right now because it makes me feel like I'm ready, and I feel like I know what I'm gonna do when I'm ready to vote, which is in 2 years. So I'm really happy that I got to do this experience because other people might not have this experience, so I'm just really happy I could do this.
Right now in school, we're just at the turnover point, the midway point, so civics is just entering a new course. So jumping into this right away was a tall task. But with the election happening right now, I think our students really did a great job of diving right into it. Some of them dressed up today, and they're all on board for this. I think this experience here, as we know that younger voters are typically the ones who go vote the least. So I think just having that experience in high school, to get out and come and vote, experience what a ballot is, getting behind a voting screen and actually casting a vote and then dropping it in a ballot box, gives them that confidence to now go do it when they're older.
I feel like it was a fun experience to do, they get used to it,
It's something definitely to learn for the future, because when we get older, we're gonna be voting on our own, so it's something to consider it and then think about it.
The polls are about to close and the counting will begin after a federal campaign focused on Canada's relations with the United States and the future direction of the country. Evan Dyer took the pulse of voters on Election Day.
Yeah, so how was your voting experience?
Great, it was super easy.
Walked in, did it within 2 minutes, and walked right out.
Voting appeared to go smoothly in most locations, with voters reporting a quick turnaround. I didn't know what to expect today, so I was pleasantly surprised.
Does this feel to you like a consequential election for Canada?
Absolutely. All just because of, obviously Donald Trump is the big issue.
And Trump inserted himself into Canada's election again this morning, posting a call for Canadians to elect the man most likely to turn Canada into the 51st state. No more artificially drawn line from many years ago. Yesterday, his Secretary of State doubled down.
He was told by the previous Prime Minister that Canada could not survive without unfair trade with the United States. At which point he asked, well, if you can't survive as a nation without treating us unfairly in trade, then you should become a state.
Conservative Pierre Poilievre responded, President Trump, stay out of our election. The only people who'll decide the future of Canada are Canadians at the ballot box. New Democrat Jagmeet Singh wrote, he doesn't choose our future, we do.
Obviously, the attitude or relationship with the U.S., kind of Donald Trump, what the anticipated leader, how they would react to that.
The tariffs and our sovereignty as a nation. Those are the big issues for us.
Those are big issues.
Huge issues, yes.
How did voting this time compare to before, other federal elections for you?
It seems to mean more today.
But Trump wasn't top of mind for everyone.
The younger generation's very suffering very much. I see it in the area. I live in the area, and there's a lot of people my age still living with their parents. And it's just become a pipe's dream of the Canadian dream.
My main concern is the crime, and I really would like to see something done about that because it just makes you more fearful.
Many voters who spoke to CBC News said this election felt more consequential than others. For some, it was the threats from the U.S. For others, there were other concerns, but most said they felt a more than normal responsibility to vote. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
The polls close at 9:30, and when the results start coming in, you may be wondering how CBC News makes the election call. Well, it all comes down to our decision desk. Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault explains how it all works.
Okay, so you may be wondering, how does CBC project an election? Who does that? What does that look like? Behold Meg Banks. Meg Banks is the boss of us when it comes to elections, in charge of CBC's decision desk. This is also your 44th election.
That's right.
So Meg knows a thing or two about a thing or two. I want to ask you about the decision desk. What does it actually mean? What are you doing?
So we are watching the results as they come in throughout the course of the night. We watch the vote share, we watch the seat change, we watch a whole whackload of metrics, and when we are ready to make a call, we will make a projection. We do two sets of projections. There's a team of journalists who make a projection in all 343 ridings, and there's myself and a couple of my colleagues who will watch the whole national picture, and we'll make a projection about the government when the time is right.
But then there's the big calls, the government call.
That's right.
How is that distinct?
We watch big sweeping trends. We watch all the numbers as they come in across the country. We are watching the vote share, the seat change. Is a party gaining enough seats to get to a majority government, or are they losing enough seats that the second place party can come up behind them? We're watching key regions. We're watching the margins. If the party that's out in first is winning the ridings in which they're winning by huge margins, then it gives us surety in making our call. So we watch that, and if a whole bunch of those metrics and sort of parameters are met for us, then we will feel comfortable enough making a call. As long as the outstanding vote, what's left to count, the ridings that are left to report, couldn't get the second place over the first place.
What is for you the thing that happens that you think people at home possibly don't realize?
There's no guesswork here. There's no going out on a limb. We are all about being right. We are not about being first. We take it super seriously, and we make sure that we've got it before we tell Canada what's going on.
And for you, the best moment of any election for all 44 that you've done?
The minute the first result comes in.
Why?
Oh, it's so exciting. that is the minute that it's real. That's the moment that it's happening. It's democracy in action. And we are so lucky to be able to be a part of it.
Welcome back. The sexual assault trial of 5 former World Junior hockey players got underway in London, Ontario. It stems from an alleged incident in the city after a Hockey Canada event in 2018, and this after a mistrial was declared last week requiring a new jury. Katie Nicholson reports.
Once young hockey stars with burgeoning NHL careers, now on trial for sexual assault. Michael McLeod, Cal Foote, Dylan Dubé, Alex Formanton, and Carter Hart have all pleaded not guilty. The Crown says this case is all about consent, what it is and what it is not. It begins at a London bar where the then 20-year-old woman whose identity is protected by a publication ban met Michael McLeod. He took her to his hotel room and they had sex, but then the Crown says the atmosphere changed. The Crown says he texted teammates, "Who wants to be in a three-way quick? 209, Mikey." McLeod is facing a second charge. The Crown says it has evidence he assisted and encouraged his teammates to engage sexually with the woman, knowing she hadn't consented. The Crown says there will be videos from that night and messages between the players in the aftermath, making sure their accounts matched up. This case broke into public view in 2022 when it was revealed Hockey Canada settled a $3.5 million lawsuit with the woman. There were parliamentary hearings, news of other payouts over the years, and leadership changes at Hockey Canada. All part of a larger reckoning of hockey culture, says this researcher.
Stories around violence, and particularly allegations of sexual violence, really counteract the idea of what it means to be Canadian. That story we've told ourselves, and that story about what it means to be a Canadian hockey player, these well-dressed, polite young men.
This trial, however, keenly focused on 5 players and what may or may not have happened that night 7 years ago. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, London, Ontario.
To Europe now. Large parts of Spain and Portugal have been hit with a massive power outage, shutting off traffic lights and sparking chaos at travel hubs. The network outage triggered a blackout in most of Spain, including the capital, Madrid. It also left millions without power in all of Portugal. Phone lines, internet, and ATM machines were all hit. Rail traffic was brought to a halt. It's not clear what caused the sudden blackout, though EU officials have ruled out a cyber attack. And back to local news now. Many of us have the goal of reaching 10,000 steps per day, but 65-year-old veteran Ken Mackay is aiming a bit higher than that. He's got a goal to raise $250,000 for homeless veterans, with many steps on the road to get there.
Hi, I'm Ken Mackay. I'm a 65-year-old veteran, and I'm walking from Windsor to Ottawa, 800 kilometers, and I'm doing this to raise funds and awareness for the Canadian veterans that are homeless. I didn't go overseas, I didn't see anything. They did, and they're homeless, and they have to fight another battle. They shouldn't have to do that. They say there could be 10,000, there could be more, because veterans are very proud, and they don't want to ask for help. So a lot of them couch surf and go from place to place. It takes them a lot to ask for help. The $250,000 is going towards the current veteran villages, and in each village there's 20 small houses, and then there's a central area where they get counseling and they have team leaders to help them get back on their feet. I was planning on doing 800 kilometers in the mountains of Spain, but I said, why not do something in Ontario and raise some funds, some money for our veterans? I used to be an infantryman, and we carried 40 pounds. This is 18 pounds, so this is nothing. I came up with this idea, and I approached members of my Legion, and I told them what I wanted to do, but I had to have a team. So we started looking for Legions along the route, and it just happened to be there's one every 25 kilometers or so. So they would phone, somebody in Bell River, in Tilbury, or Chatham, and ask, can you put me up, or put Ken up? And we got yes all the way along, all the way to Ottawa. But people keep telling me, you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job. And I think at the end, it will come to me. But right now, I'm just thinking about the walk.
What an awesome story. And CBC News has you covered tonight for Election Night in Canada. Coverage will begin right after our newscast with Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton hosting with minute-by-minute updates as polls close across the country. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Colette. Colette Kennedy is back with us for more on weather. And Colette, you teased this a little bit earlier. We're going to have some hot and humid weather coming, just to tease summertime.
That's exactly it. That is the setup for tomorrow. You know, we've had some heat, but we really haven't experienced the humidity, and we're going to get a little bit of that tomorrow. Unfortunately, there's some cooler and drier air that comes in behind that, and when those two air masses meet, we tend to get some active weather, especially this time of year. So there is a severe weather risk. I'll take you through that and the timing. It's a little more enhanced to the east of us. Our current temperature at 22 degrees. The hot spot in Canada actually is Petawawa, where the temperature is almost 24 degrees, but lots of warmth in Ontario in terms of what we're experiencing south and especially towards eastern Ontario. Towards the northwest, a little bit different. That's where that colder air is coming in. So a pleasant evening on our hands. I mentioned earlier in the show that sunset's not till 8:28, so time to enjoy that. Here is where we get that boundary and that active weather sets up. All of these lightning strikes, so through Minnesota, back through Iowa into Nebraska, and there's kind of two lines, and that feature may set up again for tomorrow. So there's a moderate risk, which does include southwestern Ontario, for some stronger storms, and especially I'd be on the lookout for or experiencing some strong gusty winds, larger hail. Isolated tornadoes not out of the question. The really enhanced high risk is going to be to the south and southeast of the Great Lakes, lower Great Lakes. So that's somewhat helpful to us. Rain showers in the morning, a few of those bubbling up, will actually help to stabilize the atmosphere. It will use up some of the energy so that there wouldn't be enough for the afternoon for these storms to get as strong. So we'll kind of be watching how much cloud cover there is, how many showers in the morning hours. And then we see the lines sort of coming together, at least that first boundary kind of coming together. It's likely going to have a little bit of trouble. The next one I'd anticipate being stronger. Now, for southwestern Ontario, kind of after about 4 o'clock on till, or after even 3 o'clock on towards about 6, that's when you'll be on the watch for this. It does seem like it may, just timing-wise, help us out that it's going to be actually a little further east once it all sort of comes together. So I just want you to be aware and, you know, stay connected so you know what's going on in case we get some watches or some warnings. But that strongest risk is going to be tomorrow in the afternoon. Overnight temperatures very mild tonight, 16. So that really helps us to get going, to get to the heat of 28 degrees, feeling like about 33. Wednesday, we get more comfortable. The sun comes back and then more rain showers come in for Thursday, Katerina.
Oh boy, okay. Thank you so much, Colette. And thanks everybody for watching. And just a reminder that you can find all of our election coverage online and anywhere you stream CBC News. Have a great night.